So, hello friends, and a happy Friendship Day to you. So, as you can see, my today's topic is about the Constitution of India. So, no, I'm not going to read the entire Constitution of India and bore you, but there are two important factors or aspects that are there in the Constitution of India that we need to know as Indians, so that we do not get fooled or get confused, or it is basically a guiding light for us when we go through those two parts of the Constitution of India. So before I go into that, I would like to talk about a certain issue that happened, or a certain address that we saw that the Prime Minister had given to those young people, and as we say Gen Z, about what they had done a few days back in the protest, or the CJB protest as it's called. So they ended up abusing the Prime Minister and his mother, and I'm not going to go too much into it because there's a lot being talked about it. But one thing that struck me when the Prime Minister was giving that address to those young people is that they are our children, and they are bhatke hue children, means they have lost their way. So it is important for us to look after them rather than telling them the kind of things that we are seeing in social media. Of course, people are angry, so we understand that where they are also coming from and why they are saying what they're saying. But what caught me the most is that the Prime Minister said that these children who have lost their way, it is our job to look after them. So why did he say this? Means why suddenly he's specifically mentioned those things? And for that, we will have to go again a bit back to understand why he has said this. So I'll talk about two issues. One is about Kashmir, the other is about Naxalism. So in Kashmir, what had happened? We had young people who ended up either going into stone pelting, or they went into even taking arms. And we all know the stories, what had happened. The army had a tough time, the government had a tough time to tackle it, because in the end they were our young guys. They were not coming from Pakistan. They were young Kashmiris who were doing all these things. 14-year-old, 15-year-old boys having AK-47. Can you imagine? And the army was in front of them, trying to think, what are we going to do now? Because they are our own people. Do we shoot them, or what do we do? So we were in a completely fix where our young people were doing all these things, and they were completely influenced. They were completely brainwashed into these things by being told that that's what the state is doing against you. So this is what you have to do against the state, and that's what had happened in the Kashmir issue. Second issue was the Naxalism issue, and of course now we know the news, and even the Home Ministry mentioned that Naxalism has finally been defeated, and it's a big victory for India that we have been able to defeat it. But what had happened in Naxalism as well? Again, there were young people who were influenced, who were brainwashed, or who were told that the state is against you, and those young people ended up taking arms and were fighting against the state. And again, we ended up getting in a very difficult situation to try and see how we can tackle this Naxalism issue. What in the end happened is that yes, we were able to solve most of what was the problem in Kashmir. It's not the same issues that we have. Still, there are challenges in Kashmir, whether it's terrorism. We saw a few days back that again 2 people were killed on the name of religion by the terrorists and all that. I'm not going into that. But overall, still, Kashmir is not having that issue that we used to have, where our youngsters were taking up arms, were taking up stones, and pelting it towards our army and working against the state of India. And the same was in Naxalism. Same thing was happening, but we are able to now find a solution. But what we ended up losing is tens of thousands of our youngsters in Kashmir, and 15,000 of our youth because of Naxalism. And these are numbers that the Home Ministry gave, so you can check it yourself. And this is again coming when it comes to the student issue as well. And that is exactly why the Prime Minister addressed to those children, to those students, and said, it's okay, I forgive you, but these are our children and we need to guide them because they have lost their way. Now, what is the connection between all these three issues that I'm talking about, Kashmir, Naxalism, and this recent student protest that had happened? We saw yesterday Ajit Doval ji speaking to the youth after he got the Lokmanya Tilak Award for serving the nation for so many years, and deservedly so. He addressed the youth and he told them that there are internal forces and external forces that are working against our nation, and it is our duty to be together and work as a country to fight against these external forces, but most importantly, the internal forces. Who are these internal forces? You look at all these three issues that I've spoken about. If you want to put more to your CA, your farm laws into it, in the protests that happen, it is the same people. You look at Kashmir, it's the same journalists, the same activists, the same Bollywoodias, the same authors, professors, so-called liberals, intellectuals, whatever you want to call, you can call them. Naxalism, same people. You check out who we call the urban Naxals. It's the same people, it's the same journalists, same activists, same people, no difference. Same lawyers, same activists, same professors. You look at today's issue as well. It is the same people who are coming and doing the same thing that they did back then. So we as Indians need to be aware. We don't, let's be honest, we should not be naive. There's a difference between these people who Arnab had termed, I think, I had termed them as the Tukde Tukde gang, and the people who question the government. People who question the government, question the Prime Minister, question BJP, it's absolutely their right. I won't call them anti-nationals, it's their right. If the BJP is uncomfortable, that's their problem. But there are questions that are going to be asked and you have to be ready for it. And people like us also who support the government maybe, but we question them on education, we question them on ethanol, we question them on all kind of things. We have recently done our tax returns, the kind of taxes that the government takes. Of course we'll ask the government that, how much tax do you want? The middle class is not here to give you charity, right? So the point I'm making is, it is not about those, because normally what happens is that when we end up saying that this Tukde gang or anti-national gang, they start saying, oh look, they're calling the students anti-national, they're calling the farmers anti-national, they're calling the Muslims, the brothers and sisters who are questioning on CA anti-nationals. We are not calling them. They are questioning the government. They have their right, just like we question the government when we feel the government is doing wrong. So I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about this particular gang that has been active since years, and they have one only aim, that is to create anarchy in India and fulfill their agenda of toppling this government come what may, because they know that in democracy, the democratic route, they are not going to be able to achieve it, because the people of India are very clear. Regardless of how many problems that they have with the government, they will choose the government that they want, and they won't choose this lot because they know who they are now. So all these issues that I'm talking about has this certain modus operandi that has happened over the years. So it is important for us to know that and for us to act accordingly. So now coming to the Constitution of India, why I'm talking about Constitution in India and these two important points that are mentioned in Constitution of India. One is our rights, which are mentioned Article 12 to Article 35. It is important for us to read all those articles and exactly know what our rights are, because we hear a lot about rights. We heard about rights, I remember in 2016, where there were anti-national slogans given in JNU, and then it was all the talk. So it's our free speech, and how can this affect your country? Is your nationality so weak? And all those things were talked about, and all attempts to try and create confusion. But once you read the constitution, the rights that you have, there are 6 rights which are there that you need to read. And once you know that, do that, no one can confuse you, no one can brainwash you, no one can fool you. And again, I'm not talking about politics. It is not about politics. You can be a BJP supporter, Congress supporter, TMC supporter, NCP supporter, whichever party you support. It's your right, not a problem in that, and it should never be a problem. It is our right. We are a democracy, and everyone can do what they want and what they want, which party they want to choose. So I'm not talking about politics. But once we are as Indians looking at this, we have to read those rights, and especially Article 19, which is talked about a lot. Oh, my freedom of expression, my freedom of expression. And again, this debate came here that, oh, they just are abusing, what's the big deal? Oh, they have done wrong, but you can't do this and you can't do that. But once you read it, you will get to know what exactly the articles say, and especially Article 19, which is not just freedom of speech. The freedom of speech is never not absolute, as mentioned in the Constitution. So you need to read exactly that, okay, I've got a speech, but there are these restrictions that are there, so that you don't end up getting in trouble, and especially the youngsters don't end up getting in trouble, as we saw in the case of these young people and those young girls who ended up saying things that they also know they were not supposed to say. But we as Indians should go through it and know exactly what our rights are. Now, rights we talk about a lot. It's there on the media, social media, since so many years. 2016 we saw, and since then so many times that we have talked about rights. But even more important is something that we don't talk about or hardly talk about, and follow to dur ki baat hai, is Article 51A. That is the duties that we have as citizens. So when we say duties, we normally associate it with the army. Army has a duty, police has a duty, CRPF has a duty, or the government has a duty. They have to do this. Government ka kaam hai. Or intelligence agencies have a duty. But that does not mean that it's only on them. The Constitution clearly mentions 51A that it is the duties of the citizens of India. So it is all of us, me including. I start with myself. I am not one of those who will start telling someone, you have to do this. It is to be done by us, and I started with myself. I'm going and reading those articles. That is Article 12 to 35, 6 rights and 11 duties under 51A. Once we read that and once we follow that, no one can confuse you, no one can brainwash anyone. And the ones who go around taking that constitution in their hands, showing as if it's some mobile or some wallet, or as a referee they are showing the red card or yellow card, those people have never read the Constitution of India, and they will not read also, because their interest is not there. Their interest is something else, their agenda is something else. But we as Indians, it is important for us to read this, and once we read this, especially the duties, then India as a nation will rise and rise and rise. We are already rising. As Ajit Doval ji said, that India is already rising, but there are forces within the nation. External forces I understand, because no nation will want India to rise. The US won't want things to change from the status quo. China won't want things to change from the status quo. And there are other nations also, European nations. They have been, having dominating the world for so many years. They don't want to change the status quo. So I understand from their side. So they will try their best as well. So where the funding and everything comes from, they will do their best. They will provide funding to NGOs, they provide funding to media houses, their NGOs. Anyways, we know all of them, which are these foreign channels, which are these activists, which are these, we saw Greta Thunberg, suddenly having interest in Indian politics, Indian issues. So what business is she having in this? Is a question that everyone needs to, answer. She had come in the CA, she had come in the farm laws, and now again she's trying to come into Indian issues. So yeah, so there are external forces, but see, external forces is something that we will manage, and we have been managing. We have seen how dynamic our foreign policy has been, and we all know our foreign minister, the prime minister. We know what he's been doing, and we have been managing that. But it is these internal forces who are trying to just do either it is lying, creating fear, creating violence, create anarchy, and create instability in India, and hope that their foreign masters and themselves will be able to, do a Nepal or a Bangladesh in India. And some of our leaders have openly said that. Like Kejriwal ji has openly said that I am an anarchist. I will he's appealed to the Gen Z that do a Nepal, that you should do a Bangladesh. So they are very clear on what their agenda is, because they know that democratically, as far as the central government is concerned, they are not going to achieve what they want to achieve. So they are going to take this route. It is our job as Indians to give them a message. We don't need to do any violence. We don't need to get angry. We don't need to go be reactive to them. But we need to be smart. We need to know exactly what our rights are. We need to know what exactly our duties are. And we need to guide those youngsters that Modi ji talked about, that the Prime Minister talked about, who have lost their way, to go to them and tell them, okay, whatever you have done, we understand is wrong, but we should guide them. We should also tell them that, see, this is what it is. 6 rights, 11 duties. Once we read them, once we follow them, no one can, misguide these youngsters. And it is the youngsters who are the ones who will, who are the future, who are the one who will lead this nation. And that is what they know. Those external forces and internal forces that Ajit Doval ji was speaking about, they know that in order to break a nation, it is to go through the youth and try and, force their propaganda and try to achieve their objectives. That's what they did in Bangladesh. That's what they did in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka not that much, but Bangladesh and Nepal, that is what we saw. So their attempt is same in India, and we should ensure as Indians we won't let them achieve that goal, regardless of who we are supporting politically. Your right is to support whichever political party you want to. That is your right. But it is our duty as Indians to ensure we preserve the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of our nation. And we have seen it in the past. Once Indians are together, no nation can stop us. Nothing can stop us. And it's our history. It's our history. We go back to the Mughals, you go back to the British, we saw once Indians came together, they couldn't stop us. And they knew it. And that is exactly what these external and internal forces are trying to do. They will divide. They will try to divide, whether it's religion, whether it's caste, whether it's gender, or in this case, as we saw, it's generation. Trying to make Gen Z, oh, they are different, oh, this millennial, oh, this Gen Alpha. Don't fall for that. These are all our people, whether it is millennial, whether it's Gen Z, or whether it's Gen Alpha. These are all our people, and we have to be together and guide them and help them, regardless of, in the end, when they go for elections, regardless of where they vote, it does not matter. Elections will come, elections will go, one party will come, one party will go, that is irrelevant. But it is important as Indians, we should be together, we should be united, and we have seen it that once we are united, we will be able to achieve what we want to achieve. COVID came, COVID tested us. It was probably the biggest challenge that we have ever faced in our lives. But we showed that we as Indians are together in this. And even in COVID, we saw the same internal forces. They were trying to, destabilize India then as well. They were trying to create fear. They were trying to create violence, hoping something will happen in this country. but they didn't achieve it because we as Indians were together, regardless of which political party we are supporting. We were very clear that we will ensure that we will go through this tough phase of COVID, and we did. We could have had a much bigger hit than what we ended up. Of course, we lost a lot of our loved ones. I'm not saying that that should not be taken into consideration. Of course, we lost our loved ones, and we felt really really bad that the way we have lost. I've lost one of my friends. After few days of COVID, not after few days, after few months of COVID, where he went through it, and then it still did not leave him, and his parts were damaged, and he ended up losing his life. But as I mentioned, that once we are united, no one can beat us. No COVID, no US, no China, no country in this world can beat us. We will rise if we are together. And for that, it is important as Indians to read the Constitution of India, especially those two parts, your rights and your duties. And then you see no one can divide us, no one can do anything about it. And especially these internal forces were trying their best, were trying to see that okay, now these, look at the what the way these some of these Gen Zs are treated. These are our targets. We will catch them, just like we caught those kids in Kashmir and ruined their lives. Just how we caught those kids in youth in Naxalism, and used them and told them, look, the state is against you, look, the state is against you. And we saw what happened there. Tens of thousands of young people, their lives got ruined. We don't want that to happen with our generation. Whether it is Gen Z, whether it is Gen Alpha, or any youth of this country, we need to be together, and we need to be for each other, and ensure that India becomes the country that we want to become. And for that is why I chose this topic today, which is an important topic about our constitution. Because the Constitution of India, if you get the time, read it entirely. The Constitution of India has been written so beautifully. It is written so well by that great man, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and of course his team, but he was the main architect behind that. That even today it is relevant, and even today it is like a guiding light for us. Once we read it, no one can do anything about it. No one can create confusion. No one can put fear in you. No one can create violence in this country. So it is our duty. Rights are fine. Rights are always going to be there, and we are seeing that we can say what we want, we can do what we want. This government was called a dictatorship, and we saw that what the dictator did. No action against anyone, no court cases that were filed, they were told to take it back. Everything was done democratically, and all that dictator propaganda has fallen out. India is a democracy. We have our rights to choose who we want. We want to choose BJP in the center, we choose them. We want to choose Congress in some of the states, we choose them. We want to choose some regional party in some states, we choose them. And whatever we want to say, whatever we do, we have all kinds of freedom. I'm telling you, I've been across the world. I've been to Australia, I've been to other countries, I've been to Africa. I'm telling you, there's no other country like India. I'm not saying because I'm Indian. I'm telling you, we have got the freedom to do what we want. I'm telling you. Please believe me, because I'm telling you by experience. So we should value that, and not let anyone, try to fool you out by saying the state is doing this against you, state is doing that against you. Yes, the state will have certain problems which we should address, which we should question them and ask them for accountability, like we did in the education issue. We asked the education minister to resign, but nothing should go against the country, and especially our youth should be protected, our youth should be guided, and we should ensure that all these forces that are there in this country, who call themselves independent, or some journalist or some activist or some Bollywood, and nowadays they have got these comedians. I call them comedians. So it's not, the spelling is COMMIE, comedians, because they are not interested. They're not even funny. We know who the comedians are. and we watch them and we enjoy them. These comedians have only one agenda, and we saw that again on what kind of thoughts that they have. Sita Kapati and all those. I'm not even going to go into that. So we need to be aware of such people. We need to be standing united against such people and against their masters who are there outside, and ensure that India becomes the country that we all wish for. So I hope you enjoyed it, and also I hope you got some more clarity on the points I tried to make. And yeah, and next week I will come again with another topic to speak about. So there are a couple of important issues that I can speak, maybe FCRA, because FCRA will be a very important bill because it is linked to what I've spoken today of foreign funding and kind of funding that comes to these kind of internal forces that are working against the nation, the media houses, the activists, and all these various organizations. So let's see, I might speak about FCRA or maybe the immigration issue that is going on in Spain and Morocco. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next week. Have a happy Friendship Day again, and enjoy your Sunday. Bye bye.